Hello, welcome to the Tsports Network, the home of tabletop sports. We're here live in Ottawa. We're live here in Ottawa at the
Capital City Bloodbath, the EY Center.
The EY Center. And we're here for round 3 of our 114-person 40K event. Have you noticed it's been a different number every round?
Yes, every round you have either added or removed people.
It's been going really well.
It's been going very well.
But over 100 people are competing to be the champion of the Capital City Bloodbath, and the stakes have never been higher. I've just heard that there is a $25 Timmy Hortons gift card as top prize now.
Yep, Darren has really gotten ahead of himself. He went that extra mile. Chris Haynes was planning on using that $25 to support Team Canada next year, guys. So keep that in mind. Whoever
that was the whole budget.
That was their budget for next year.
That was the whole budget.
Scary, you're off the team. Sorry.
I'm so sorry, Scary, but we wish you were on the team. So 2 exciting matches of 40K going into round 4 later today. So we're still going to be live again after this. So we've got a 4th round today with 2 rounds tomorrow. We've had some exciting matches so far. We've seen Imperial Knights play, Chaos Knights play. It was pretty of a whitewash last round. Orcs doing some pretty dominant stuff. But we've got Sisters. So Sister battle on 2 tables.
Two tables.
1 on each table, and then they're up against some pretty fine other armies. Tau. Tau. We're just looking forward to it. Falcon, how's your experience with CCBB been so far?
It's been great. I mean, we just had lunch. Contrary to popular belief, they did feed us. It was okay. I had a good salad and a focaccia.
Oh, you had a focaccia?
I had a focaccia. But it's still out there, folks. Please DoorDash us literally anything.
EY Center.
EY Center. I'm dying. But, this round, I'm really excited. We've got 2 really fun games. We've got Tim Dietlifs.
The big Tim Dietz. He looks like
Timmy
he lifts.
Dietz.
He looks like he lifts.
Timmy Dietlifs, he's a perennial WTC Team Canada player, always on some form of elf, currently playing Harlequins into Bloody Rose Sisters of Battle. And on our other table, as you mentioned, we have Tau going into one of the prettiest Sisters of Battle armies I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah, all converted from different bits, right?
Mostly, much of it has been converted from AOS models in terms of at least the characters. A lot of love and joy gone into this army, and just a really beautiful paint scheme in general. And I'm a big fan of the hobby. I know you know that.
Yes.
In all forms. And,
yeah, me too.
Just seeing this stuff, I'm really hopeful. I'm going to go for Sisters of Battle against Tau just because the army's so gorgeous, and I hope none of it dies. I hope he just trounces the Tau player to no end. Other game, I'll give it to Timmy Dietz because he's Timmy.
It's Timmy. Yeah, he looks like a mountain man, and I don't hate that.
He does look like a lanky mountain man.
But he looks like a mountain man who's just really leaned into it and relaxed. Yeah. We'll talk about that in a minute. Maybe Tom, our infield cameraman, the superstar, is going to give us a quick tour of the stadium that is the EY Center. Just give us a little panoramic view. You should be able to see there.
Just people's butts. That's all we want.
That's it. So there you can see the stadia that is this huge Tabletop Sports Network event here. Absolutely massive, organised by the people from Canhammer, which is a YouTube channel and podcast, and absolutely fantastic. All right, well, thanks very much for that, Tom. Let's jump over straight to Table 2, where we've got Rick Johnson with his, as aforementioned, Tau, against Chris Sage with his Adeptus Sororitas. Now, we know that the Sisters of Battle are getting to go first, but some other important news. I know Rick is just coming off a massive win going into Tyrannid Monsters, where his Hammerheads apparently went crazy.
Well, this is kind of the Tau list that is going to make a Tyrannid Monster Mash list crap its literal pants.
Yes.
In every way, shape, and form. This is a Tau Sept list. It's not Fireside Enclaves, as we kind of seen start to spark back up. He's got Shadow Sun. He's got 3 Hammerheads. He's got Long Strike. He's putting out Dark Strider, which we don't see very often coming into play.
Why do you not think we normally see Dark Strider?
Character slots are usually not in abundance in a Tau list. You're trying to fill out, get that ethereal in there. You want your crisis suits, your crisis commanders of every variety. But what we've seen here is Rick has gone in. He wants that Dark Strider. It's a really great tech piece, especially against close combat armies. He's got a few close combat tech pieces in this list. He's got his Cold Star Commander that actually took Resonator Warheads, which means that his missile pod will half the movement of whatever it shoots at.
Interesting.
And that can be a little bit devastating, especially if he starts to get threatened by the Repentia or the Zephyrim in this this Tau list.
Okay, so like,
Or sorry, the Sisters list.
so Sisters, like, honestly, is absolutely alien to me as an army.
Yep.
Talk to me how it works. Like, what are the key pieces in, especially in this list? Like, what pieces work and how do they work?
So this list in particular here, it's kind of like your, I wouldn't say bog standard, but pretty close to bog standard.
Cookie cutter.
Bloody Rose Sisters list. And this is a list that relies mostly on close combat to get its damage done. It does have those Retributors, which are always going to be something that, which are actually probably going to be the early priority for Rick here. So those Retributors, they've got Melt-A-Guns. They have this thing called Miracle Dice that our Sisters player are going to start rolling, which lets him swap dice rolls into other dice rolls.
So this is after you've rolled the dice?
Yeah, so he can...
Wow, so you can fish for the result you want.
He can choose to, instead of, he can choose to, like, basically auto-wound any of these hammerheads if he needs to with a Melt-A-Shot and clutch range. He has strats that'll be able to do mortal wounds on 6s that he can pop simply by throwing a miracle die at it. There's lots of benefits to this. He's also got, and this is kind of like one of the things that's a little unique, is he did bring 3 Paragon Warsuits. This is a tech piece we hadn't seen in forever, but with Armor of Contempt, we're seeing more and more Sisters players bring 3 or 6 of these little baby robots, little baby suits, because when you have the right terrain for it, they're often going to be sitting on a 0+ armor save. They're decent in close combat. They're getting you access to essentially another Melt-A-Gun. And yeah, so like these are 2 big target priorities for the Tau player, because he wants to keep those hammerheads in the fight early to deal with the mortifiers and everything else. This is going to be an interesting game, in my opinion, like in the early stages.
Well, so yeah, and just to tell you exactly what's happening with the terrain, because I know that's of import to a lot of people. It's player-place terrain other than the 2 in the center. So there's 2 pieces of center, and as you can see, that terrain has resulted in some like pretty open spaces at the top and the bottom, which I think is really kind of, which I think is going to be fairly important, because the Tau, if people don't know this, are generally a full shoot army, little to no combat.
Yeah. Now we have seen a little bit of a change in jank there occasionally with Crisis suits, like large units of Crisis suits coming in and doing a bit of hurt in close combat. But yes, this is mostly a shooting army, heavy on the hammerheads because Tyranids are such a threat right now in the meta. Same with the Silent King, things like that. So what we're seeing here, the Sisters player's already gone. He just pushed up into onto these 2 objectives. And we haven't even mentioned it. The mission here is secure missing artifacts, which is a hold 1, hold 2, hold more. And there is a priority objective, which is this sucker right here that is going to be scoring our Sisters player an additional 3 points every turn.
How do we decide which is the priority objective?
So at the beginning of the at the beginning of the game, each player gets to choose an objective and moves it up to 2 objectives that they get to move 6 inches, and one of them they declare is the priority objective, and they have to tell their opponent. And that's
they do it like, I declare?
Yeah, just like that. If you don't use the accent, then your opponent gets the points.
Immediately gets to declare it in addition. I think whoever does the best declare is the best declarer. Like, gets
exactly.
it. Yeah, okay, good, right.
Look at this gorgeous army. We already, like, this is our Celestine we've got up
there.
there.
Yeah, there we go. We got a close up from Tom, which is looking at these armies.
Like, just beautiful. So we've got this Sisters unit that's just kind of chaining back to stop any kind of deep strike shenanigans. There is a Cold Star commander in that Tau army that can redeploy anywhere on the map if he wants to. So he's trying to be careful of that. You're seeing Morven Val hanging out. There's that beautiful converted Celestine out of Lady Olinder.
Oh, lovely.
Some it looks like some wings off of, I don't know, Sanguinary Guard or something like that. He's got the Olinder's little baby girls beside him as the Sisters Gemini. It's just like a beautiful, beautiful army. He's positioned his Retributors here to kind of just be out of line of sight of anything too awful to go first. But he really didn't do anything. He pushed up just a little bit. This is a go second game, in my opinion, and he really wanted that. So he's playing as tight to chest as possible.
So when you think it's a go second game, Pete, what are we talking about? Like obviously once you win the wall at the start of the game, you have to go first.
Yes.
Why did he want to go second? Like what was he able to do with that?
Well, with the go second, it forces the Tau opponent to make decisions. Do I start to creep out with these hammerheads to try and get line of sight on a Paragon suit, to try and get line of sight on whatever he can? It forces him to push out the crisis suits so that they're engaging in the middle. And what that does, because this is a heavily close combat oriented army, is it just gives him the chance to come in and get off charges if he wants to. It forces it puts the pressure on the Tau player to make the first move. By doing this, he's had to push up, he's had to play very, very defensive in his positioning, because he doesn't want to lose half his army to the Tau shooting, and it's basically a wasted turn for him in a lot of ways.
Yeah, okay, that's very interesting. And as you can see now, exactly what you were saying about that army, it is unfolding itself now. So it's unpacking itself out of its like defensive structure. Do the Sister Battle have any long-range shooting that they can bring to bear, or is it going to be mainly combat that they try and push?
They're going to be mainly combat. They do have the Retributors. The Paragon Warsuits can put out a few Melta shots. They've got bolters here and there. There is a unit of 3 mortifiers that does have, I believe, 6 heavy bolters on them. That they can put a little bit of pain out there. But honestly, what this is going to be about is how much damage can Tau put out in this turn 1. And then what's the clapback going to be? If this Rhino survives, or at least the little baby Repentia inside survive, that's when we're going to start to see magic happen. We've seen here that the Tau player, who has about 30 Kroot in the list, has kind of just pushed them all into this corner here on this flank. Interesting play. I'm not quite I feel like, oh no, there's more over here. That's why. I was going to say, I feel like he should be screening out a little more to try and block off any kind of Repentia charges. But yeah, so we're seeing that now. Although he's not stringing out, he's kind of putting them in a big blob. Not
interesting.
So
yeah, that's not normally a tactic. Okay, so this is only one of our matches, so that's table 2. Over on table 1, we got another Sisters match, although these players are still deploying. No, they're not. Sorry, we're in Harlequins movement phase. Harlequins going second or first? Let's just find this out from...
they went second.
They went second. Okay, so what are in these 2 lists here, Pete?
So the list here we have for the Bloody Rose is very, very similar. Yves Jean-Baptiste. He's got a slightly different take on the Canoness, going for... ignoring the mortal wound output that a Canoness can take, and going more for having a fight's last ability on her by taking the Word of the Emperor. He's got Celestine. He's got some Battle Sisters, a block of 10 Sisters Novitiate, rather than going with a 3rd Battle Sister squad. He's got a small block of Sacrosants, which are like your bodyguard unit. Also running 3 Paragon suits, doing that Repentia business. Yeah, mostly the same in terms of when we have like Eve and Ricky's lists. The big difference is really how they're playing, or not Ricky, Chris's list. Really, the big difference is one is taking a Dogmata, basically the chaplain of the Sisters, and he's kind of backed off on one of the Mortifier squads, from what I can see. So very interesting to see how this will play out against the Harlequins. Having that tech piece of the Always Strike Last on the Canoness is really good for him into Quins. But it's going to be about getting that Canoness where she needs to go.
So I thought most of the power from the Quins, so from Harlequins, the laughing gods' children, a lot of that power came from the shooting, right? Like, are we not seeing? I can see a bunch of Skyweavers.
Yes.
And they're normally pretty good into vehicles. That's what they are. Yep. That's what they're pretty good in. But I thought most of the output really came from kind of like those big fusion pistol shots in boats. Or are we going to see some combat just from the troops, you think? That's where we're going to see some major damage.
So Tim's list here is running, I believe it's 4 troop squads and Skyweavers. He's
wow.
And they're fully kitted out, so they've got 2 fusion pistols and 2 neurodisruptors in each squad. He's got 3 squads of Skyweavers. They're great at plinking wounds off vehicles, like you said, because of the mortals they can do. They're also great at picking up small units, like the MSU stuff that we're going to see from Sisters.
They're okay in combat, right, aren't they?
They're okay in combat, yeah. And they can put out a good amount of shots. And and Tim is very, very good at board control. He's very good at picking his objective and going for it. This is a very fast list with all these Skyweavers in play. He's chosen to avoid any Void Weavers whatsoever, unlike some Harlequins lists we've been seeing, which still want to run 2 or 3, just to get those Skyweavers in the list. He does have that the Troop Master of Death, the Queen of Shards, and Kegarak's Rose, so he can put quite the hurt on any one of these characters here. This is going to be a very interesting game. I want to give it to the Harlequins just because, like, I know how quality a player Tim is, but I have seen Eve put up some interesting numbers in the past in previous years.
I think I just saw Tom in the chat saying I think Eves was originally or was in London for a few years, so played around the English scene. And Pete, as we obviously know, based on ITC rankings, the English are very dominant.
Especially
Warhammer 40.
now that you guys actually play games.
Now that we play games, I mean, like it's all like we had Vic VJ in the chat earlier. Wow. Like, wow.
Big name.
But no one obviously as good as the Australians now, obviously.
They are the best players in the world.
Yeah, the Australians are the best players in the world.
And
that
sorry,
is
folks,
correct.
I meant there were 6 troop units. I think I said 4. That was just me miscommunicating. Yeah, this is very troop heavy. What did we have the Sisters player put in the middle? Is that Celestine just hanging out there with... What else is with her?
Yes. Isn't that her Repentia?
Well, her Gemini, maybe.
Yeah, Gemini,
and
yeah,
that's
sorry.
it? He just walked that out there?
He just walked it out there. He's walked it out there for the fun.
That's interesting. I like it. He wanted to play.
Is that bait? So we're looking at it on the screen now. Is that bait? Is that just crazy bait?
I mean, this list here, the Harlequin list doesn't have a lot of long-range shooting. It's mostly close-up. The Star Weavers can put out a few shots. The Sky Weavers can as well. It's a very interesting tactic here from Eve to leave Celestine and her friends out in the open like that to grab that middle objective early. I'm curious as to if that's going to bite him. Yeah, so it looks like all the Skyweavers have gone into Celestine, and the 2 Gemini have already been pulled, and now we have another squad going into her, hanging out all by herself.
It feels like a bold overestimation, right?
It does. We'll have to, it's very interesting.
I'm
I'm a little shocked. I thought there'd be something else up there with her.
They're currently... No, roll wherever they want to. It's super okay. We never enforce people like rolling into the dice tray or anything during their games because I would always feel terrible if that affected their game. But we have recorded these games in full with player audio. In fact, let's take a moment to listen into the players and see how they're feeling about their match right now.
Yep. Takes 1 wound.
Damage 1.
Oh, yeah, sorry. Yeah.
Those 3 bikes.
Did you shot with them already?
Yeah.
Did they all that line of sight on this thing?
Oh, you're totally right, because you pulled her. Yeah, take your wound back. That's fine.
Okay.
The other 3 bikes?
Yeah.
4, 7, 9. Five hits. 4. AP3.
3 up. Takes 1 wound.
3 damage.
So it's reduced by 1, so 2 damage.
Yep. Okay, my friend. Oh, and sorry, my characters are putting up banners.
That's fine.
Yeah. Okay, that's it.
Cool.
Actually,
So
what's your
Celestine,
leadership?
4 wounds left, we
10.
just heard.
Does you have -2 because of my spell?
Yeah.
So if you're leadership 9, you could fail.
Ooh, they test it. They're tested to see if they can get something running away.
I think he's testing to see if Celestine runs away. No, it can't be.
Can't be. Could be.
He did reduce his leadership by 2, or her leadership by 2. So losing the 2 Gemini, if Celestine is at leadership 9, on a
goodness.
6,
Is
she
ignore
could
for the
flee.
purpose of moral test.
Okay, so Gemini are
my
ignored for
friend.
morale, so it's
Ball
fine.
score 3.
Yeah.
So Celestine's just going to hang out there, down to 4 wounds.
Not a bad start. Now,
Not
does
a
she
bad
get to bring any of those wounds back? Is there a heal mechanic available to this army?
No, she can bring back. He doesn't. I don't believe he brought any kind of apothecary, but he can bring back the Gemini. Snacks have been ordered. Be on the lookout in 30 to 40 minutes. Oh, Seth Oster.
Oster, wow. Anyone who does want to send any sort of snacks to the arena here is more than welcome to do so. DoorDash to the location of
The EY Center.
the EY Center.
4899 something or other street. And
Yeah.
if you just put in 4899, whatever address that is, you can send it to them. I'm sure they're hungry as well.
Yeah. Thanks, Seth Oster, in the chat. That's appreciated
That's
loads.
Seth the Mad Doc Oster. He's one of the best orc players in the world.
Wow.
He looks like Shrek, smells not like Shrek. He does have a rather interesting musk, but it's not like that at all.
Okay, amazing. Thanks, Seth Oster. And also, I love that you're playing orcs because I love orcs. So great job from you. I hope everyone's enjoying the coverage. So these are our two exciting matches. We kind of know what's happening now. We've seen the Tau army unfold on table 2. So now I guess it's the time, chat, to tell me what you think might happen. We haven't yet seen this Tau army engage. This is the bottom of 1. And so this is going to be the first time that we're going to see what Rick's going to do with a lot of that shooting. Who do you think is going to win? Tau versus Sisters? By the way, it's one of my favorite things to do when we do coverage, is to put the same army on twice against different forces, because I think actually then you get to really kind of explore at least a faction. So I think this is quite interesting to see. I'm excited to see what Sisters do, because in both situations, it looks like they've got to really get across the board at their opponent.
They really do. The difference is Tim also is close range, so that Harlequins versus Sisters matchup I think is going to be a much deadlier one in terms of the two of them coming together. This Rick versus Chris game, it's going to be hard. I mean, we've already seen the Rhino has been blown up. I only see one model hanging out from inside it. We'll have to see what happened there exactly, if the rest were killed or if something or there was only one model in it to begin with.
And then, so that's the game. That's what we got. That's what we got on 2. And then on 1, we're going to see what the Harlequins. So what the Sisters are going to do in retort against the Harlequins, just dropping out. And there's one of the Gemini already returned.
Yeah, returned to battle.
Already returned. Okay, so with that said, and with my love sent out to Nick in the chat, because I love him to pieces, we're going over now to Mr. Val Heffelfinger in the field, who's going to let us know what's happening at the rest of Capital City Bloodbath 2022. Over to Val right now.
We're off.
Over to Val, and here he is. Back again, round 3. Just doing a little walk down some tables here. We got Chris Rice over to my right. I believe he's doing well. Usually playing Tournaments. I haven't actually wandered by to see what he's playing today. Sisters, maybe? What is this?
So just 2 wounds, AP1?
Chris, what army is that? Sisters. It's Sisters. They're very fancy sisters. Okay, that was hilarious. It wasn't because I don't know what a Sister of Battle looks like. Okay, I know what that looks like. These were like custom miniatures, and they were blue. I thought maybe they're AdMech. Look, it's okay. Over here we see head judge looking over Sam Procopio and Mark Wang's game. I believe this is actually the official top table. I've updated exclamation point other games with the link to the ITC Battles app if you want to follow that score. Blood Angel Beefcake, Sam Procopio, of course, still on a tear. But the real story here, folks, earlier in the day, we did some coverage of a rarely sighted gargantuan squiggoth. And I thought to myself, how lucky am I to have seen one in the wild? Well, folks, do I have something for you? There is another gargantuan squiggoth being played here at Capital City Bloodbath alongside a Stompa. I mean, that is bold, that is brazen, that is cutting-edge list design, and is a man after my own heart. I'm just going to barge in here. Excuse me, sir. Do you mind if I ask you a quick question?
Yeah.
Does your squig have a name?
It is. Actually, there's a sign on him. He says, "Are you okay if I turn him around?" Yeah, so if you want to get a shot.
Will Paul not okay? Not okay if he goes for it. There you go. Gargantuan squiggoth. Thank you very much.
Fifi the Destroyer.
Fifi the Destroyer. In case you couldn't read it on there, folks, we may not be in 1080p's. So I think that's about it for my quick little jaunt down here. There's lots of people going on, still in the early runnings, obviously, and I'll keep updating my sheet and interrupting the stream whenever I damn well please. So I'm going to, for now, kick it back over to Rob.
Thank you very much to Val. Love myself a gargantuan squiggoth. 2 the entire amount Forge World ever sold, says someone in the chat. Absolutely amazing. Those bottom floor windows, a dream. Scrivo, there are no bottom floor windows at this event. Capital City Bloodbath pack, there are none. And anyone who doesn't know anything about 40k terrain, there's some pretty important keywords when it comes to terrain and how they may or may not affect what you're able to do in and outside of it. Just to kind of rifle through our games in what is an amazing tournament and a really lovely experience. We are here. Yeah, you can go and check out the pack, but they've FAQ'd quite a few different things, which is nice. They also FAQ'd the 2-inch engagement range from Retreat as well, which I thought was really clever. Like, it's nice. Like, I personally think some of these events should just, you know, put the rules in that they think works best to make sure the experience is good and enjoyable for the players they're playing against. Anyway, in exciting news, this table that we're looking at now is our Harlequins versus Sisters Sisters of Battle. And as of yet, not much has really happened. I think the pace of the last game has really got us, the last round, round 2, it got us all really riled up. But let's not forget, these players will probably use all of the 2.5 hours of their round. We've already talked through the list, but if you type !list, you'll be able to find them. And you've got some really great armies playing here. This kind of really nicely done Harlequin army, and we'll wait and see how it engages with these sisters, because last turn I think it's actually quite clever. We saw Celestine put in the middle, absorb a lot of shooting, not die, and then that means that the sisters have just been like, well, you've just wasted an entire turn of shooting.
Yeah.
You've done nothing with your turn, and I quite like that. Like, I think it's quite risky though, right? They're ballsy.
It can be, but like Eve is playing this tight. He's got a rough idea of the damage output that the Harlequins are willing to put out if they're going to commit, and he banked on the fact that Tim was not going to commit more than the minimum amount to try and kill Celestine, and so that's what we saw. So all he did was he got his free heal on Celestine because she didn't die. We got a res Gemini on the middle objective again. And I think this is going to be basically it. Eve is going to slowly feed and try to rack up his points. He's already had a 24 because he's got some decent secondaries on the go. All he's doing this round is plinking away at some bikes in the back with his longer range shooting, and he's charged the Skyweavers here at what will be our left. Tim decided to Overwatch, and I don't think he killed anything.
He did. He didn't kill anything.
Oh,
so
he might have killed one just now.
Oh, let's find out.
Looks like he picked up one.
Okay, so he's picked up one. Okay, that puts him in a good position though, like to get into the bikes.
Oh, for sure. It's going to be a pretty easy charge for him, and not only that, like the trade here is going to be quite good, because now once again it's kind of like here's the
it's
small.
Also, I like the length. I like rolling the charge and then just pushing those models as deep as he can.
Yeah.
Which I think is really nice. But so either of those two he's going to be able to take out.
But this is great because it's a good trade for him, and like if for Tim to fight back, he's going to have to expose another unit, and it's kind of like this slow bleed that he's going for here.
Yeah. Yeah, so it's just consistently just trading in and out if possible, which I think is quite interesting. I do wonder what Celestine's going to do, though. Is she just going to repeat that trick of just being in the middle and just taking some damage for her army?
And he keeps, and as Kif noted, he has the Sacred Shrine secondary, I do believe.
Well, okay, so let's take a moment now to actually talk about the secondaries for both.
Defend the shrine, yes.
Yeah, so Harlequins, we'll practice this, Pete. I'll read them out, and you tell me what the hell they do. This is it's tried and tested method that we go through now when we're talking about secondaries. So you guys can check these out on. I think these are also available online, but hold on. So these are secondaries. We'll go through Adeptus Sororitas first, and the first one we've got is a leap of faith. Okay, just take a moment on that. But because I'm going to take a leap of faith and tell you that I definitely don't know what a leap of faith is, but if chat wants to help me, you're more than willing. I know the players will know. Let's listen to them. Let's listen into them right now. Let's listen into them right now is what I'll say.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I'll pile in and fight you?
Yeah. And here.
Great attack. One.
It's your dice, but I use it anyway.
Fine.
No.
1 damage.
5 up. Nope. 1 dice.
Can they fail leadership?
Yeah. At the moment, no, because you kill only 2.
So he's only killed the one bike so far, and if you can see, he's killed 2. Did you say? Oh no, so he lost 2 Repentia, but he killed a Skyweaver at the top, which is going to be pretty good. So yeah, I don't know if he'll be unhappy with that. This is such a key, oh no, I can't say it. This is such a tactically obtuse game. Yeah.
Okay, so only killed 1 bike with the Repentia?
Only killed 1 and lost 2 in return.
Lost 2 in return. He auto-passed morale. Okay. So let's go to those secondaries. Sorry, I had to step away for a second.
It's okay.
Leap of Faith at the end of each player's turn. If 2 active... Oh, look, Scribble popped into the chat for us. But for those listening at home, were performed by Adeptus Sororitas units from that army. You score 1 victory point, or 2 if it's your opponent's turn. If 3 were performed, you get an additional 1. So in an army that's built around acts of faith, it's just an easy way to score points because you're just doing what you want.
Yeah, you're already doing those things anyway.
Yeah, every time you're tossing miracle dice, it's great. Yes, exactly. You get victory points for every time you spend dice. Which
you're going to do anyway.
Yep. Now,
amazing.
Defend the Shrine. This is a very popular one for Sisters players right now. We see it quite often. It's high scoring. What you do is you select 1 objective marker that's not in your deployment zone, and you call it the Sacred Objective. At the end of the turn, you score 3 points if you control it. And Adeptus Ministorum unit is within range of the objective marker. So with Celestine being Adeptus Ministorum and with the Gemini, basically every turn what he's going to be trying to do is pop that Gemini, resurrect a Gemini back onto the objective. And what this is doing is it's forcing Tim now to put stuff in the middle, once again, for this kind of trade option that Eve is looking for.
Okay, interesting. So yeah, very interesting in how that's going to play out. And Tim's playing Harlequins, and his secondaries are Deadly Performance, Raise the Banners High, and then Behind Enemy Lines. So those are our 3 secondaries there, which is
and Deadly Performance. That is it is a key to a lot of Harlequin gameplay. It's all about killing units with your Harlequins. That's really about it. Getting up in their face and chopping them down. So that with his troops coming out to play probably this turn, or at least some of them coming out to play this turn, at least to kind of force Celestine to stop her shenanigans at scoring these easy points for Eve. We're going to start to see those Deadly Performance points kind of rack up. We've already seen him fall back with the Skyweavers directly into the Sisters' lines, which is a really great play, and then he's just going to replace them with the squad that had been here in the middle.
Okay, well, exciting match on table 1. Over on table 2, this is our Ta'u up against our Sisters, so like a slightly more formidable long-range force here, not quite as combat orientated. So how the Sisters are going to deal with this. So you can see those screens of Kroot kind of in between our hammerheads at the back there. They're in a really good position for blocking out, and I think those are also. Let's just double check. Those are there are crisis suits in the middle, Pete.
Yeah, so that's the big block of crisis suits. It does have 4 drones as well that can soak wounds for the crisis suits. Because this army, the Sisters army, doesn't have a lot of long-range shooting, they can kind of put themselves out there, and chances are you might lose your drones, you may lose 1 or 2 suits, but that's not your concern, because that brick is meant to take the middle of the board, and that's kind of what we're probably going to see here in the next Tau turn once he baits out a little bit more action. We've already seen characters have to come out to play because the rest of the army is just a little too slow. Losing that Rhino here and losing all of the Repentia inside it, not exactly what our Sisters player wanted, but he did have to do something, having to go first.
So this is all the shooting. So we're past the shooting phase for Tau. Maybe we get a kill count from Rich, just let us know exactly what we saw murdered. But we definitely know that Rhino got killed, which was located to the left-hand side. We can tune into the players now and see how they're doing.
Listen to them.
But we're going to listen to the. But we're going to need those Sisters player to push way deeper into that Tau army, right?
It does get it on the 11. So.
Just helps getting rid of those pretty miracle dice.
yeah, for sure.
So we heard the Tau players trying to get rid of the miracle dice.
So Celestine is also going to be -2 to charge them.
Correct.
I'm just going to charge Celestine into the Kroot, I believe.
Okay.
Also, Celestine going into the Kroot at the
Yeah,
top, as you
so-
can all hear there.
She gets.
I'll get him in.
Looks like it's enough. Those Kroot are super dead, but Celestine's right in front of
The hammerheads. It
yeah,
feels
so
like
that-
it feels like we talked about that not being a screen and that being a blob, like in placement. It feels like that's very much like this is one of my
Okay,
favorite things to do. I'm like,
so-
here's 5 dudes, please kill those 5 dudes, so you're in range of
Start
my
with,
things to shoot your 5
that's
dudes.
it for
Now, I mean,
charges.
with Pylon and Consolidate, he can probably ring that ring this Gemini
I will attempt to
up around
charge with
here.
the Canoness, I guess.
And then if
not,
he kills
not
all
now
the
that
Kroot,
I've
which he
positioned
should,
them the way that
he
I
can
did,
then
'cause I have
tag
nobody
at
on the
least one
objective.
hammerhead
So
here.
let's start with the
to avoid
Zephyr
a little
there.
bit of damage, but it's not ideal.
Zephyr first. 'cause I
Now the
can't
Zephyr
move
are going
backwards.
into these crisis suits. It's
Um,
only a squad of 5.
So
I
it's
don't
gonna
think
be
they're going to
5
put
and then
out
4
that
for
much
each
damage.
Zephyr.
Yeah, I don't think so either. Which means we're going to get like a lot of return. Like the Tower's an interesting army because you need to put so much blunt force into it, so it can't like if you attack it in piecemeal, piecemeal, then all that happens is each bit gets slowly kind of like taken off the board,
1,
right?
2,
Unless
so I
you're
do reroll
driving
1 for
deeper
the
into their
Canoness
lines.
there.
And I mean, hitting the crisis suits is pretty nice. It's a good place to be.
It's a good place to be, but we already saw a little
Sorry,
bit of
hit it
that
on that, please.
I gotcha.
of that Gold Star Commander coming into play with 2 of the units being at -2 to charge. So clearly Tau playing into that, trying to slow him down. No explosions on hits on the Zephyrim, also not the best because he kind of wants as many attacks in as possible. These are just power swords going in. I mean, 3 wounds by the looks of things.
So just going into the crisis suits. How many wounds do crisis suits have? 5?
Each crisis suit has 3, 4.
4 wounds. Okay. And I assume that they're going to be covered in smart missile systems, right? This is a classic.
Well, they have these 4 drones. He can choose to take them on instead, or he can choose to pick up at just one of his dudes regardless. Yeah, this was going to be a bounce. I think this is more or less just trying to mitigate shooting more than anything by putting the Zephyrim in.
Okay, that seems nice. I don't hate that. It's a pretty formidable alley to be charging down. No matter how much faith you have in the Emperor, I feel like staring down that Xenos kind of alley of destruction is a worry.
Yeah,
is a worry. The Hammerhead's not really that effective into the Sisters army.
Right now, like they've killed the Rhino, so all that would be left were the Paragon suits, which are in reserve, and killing the Mortifiers, which are still in hiding. I believe he did manage to pick off one that was kind of stuck out from one of the buildings, but there's still 2 left hanging out. But those aren't really priorities right now, particularly with the Paragon Warsuits being off the board.
Sorry. Okay, so they're not priorities. And the Paragon suits are in Deep Strike, right? Waiting to come on?
They are, and like this is pretty worrisome if you look at this board. Like the Sisters player has to pull back so much. We did see the Kroot die. I didn't see any kind of pylon and consolidate there, though, or at least I didn't see the pylon.
Here we go. So but not enough.
No, well, like he needed to pile in first because what he wanted to do was kind of do that little wraparound.
Yes, of course.
So that he could get the 3-inch and tag. Yeah, I'm not quite sure there. Now we're gonna have the Crisis suits punch back. They'll probably pick up a couple of the Zephyrim.
Interesting.
Just from weight of attacks alone.
Interesting. So where's the Sisters damage? Is Sisters doing well in the meta at the minute?
Sisters are doing extremely well. They've got a T-Whip tournament winning position of about 11%. It's
Wow.
The only army that's doing better than them is Tyranids, and they're on about the same par as Necrons in terms of current performance in new Nephilim era.
Wow.
So they're quite good. Sisters are an amazing army.
The Necron glow-up's been pretty fantastic as well. Like, huge.
Yes.
Rags to riches.
Necrons are definitely, the Recrons, as we should call them now, they're doing quite well.
Yeah, they're doing very, very well.
And Tom, you're very right. The way this board is built, it's not the best for Sisters, especially into like this heavy shooting army of Tau, where they can just kind of have their way for them as they have to walk across the board.
I would say I'm not really certain what I know that the double L in the center was pre-designed, but I really don't know what that's doing to control the fire lanes.
It does not much to control it against hammerheads, because with the high movement and fly, it's not too hard for them to get whatever angle they want anyway.
I just feel like if this L was an L, let's say, and then then an L, and immediately the game becomes incredibly different.
If you were able to remaneuver them based on the deployment zones, yeah, you're probably right.
Yeah, it's just very, very boards are so interesting. I could talk about that all day, but I won't. We'll jump over to table 1 and see what our Sisters Oh, yeah, perfect. Okay, but we're going to go in the field as well, and then we'll come back to table 1. So take a moment to just eyeball this, because lots going on in this turn, and the score's already started to rack up. So over to Mr. Val Heffelfinger now to let us know what's happening in the rest of the tournament. Over to him.
Very specific, random parts of the tournament. I'm joined here with some dear friends. We got Alex. He's running 40. Are they Blood Angel Terminators?
No, they're Deathwing, just painted as Blood Angels. Red. Exonerators are called.
They're the Exonerators. Going against Conrad, he's stooped down a little bit here, but this is obviously an undefeated matchup, correct, fellas? Okay, very cool. Well, best of luck. We're going to keep moving on down the line. All right, what else we got going on here? It's actually a pretty subdued round. We got Josh Curtis over there with his gargantuan squig. Just looking for some familiar faces. Come on, come on. Here we go. Here we go. Here's Dustin Henshaw. Looks like he's drawn Goff Orcs, and the Orcs are hiding from the planned Gene Stealer cult uprising. Oh my goodness. Continuing to mosey down. People, a lot of heads down right now. A lot of serious rolling of dice. Oh, we have the AOS TO over here. Why don't we do that while we tap dance a bit? Excuse me, my good man. Would you mind talking to the stream for a minute? Sure. Okay, so you're head TO of AOS. Yes, I am. How's it been going?
It's been going very good. A lot of good players, different armies out there, and it's good to see.
Yeah, is there like a dominant faction out there? A lot of knights on this side. Anything like that going on over there?
Not really. Some deepkins out there. The one army that surprised me, Bone Splitters. Bone Splitters are doing pretty good right now.
Formerly known as the Savage Orcs. I didn't know that about the Bone Splitters. What makes them good?
Right now, just spamming of the Boar Boys and the Big Stabbers? The Big Stabbers.
I've seen those big stabbers and the gore grunters or whatever, so I shouldn't put square bases on all of the Bone Splitters that I have.
Well, I should magnetize them to play fantasy in a couple years.
No, I'm playing fantasy right now, but that's beside the point. I appreciate you giving us a little breakdown. I'm going to see if I can go bother some more people. We got Joe here. Joe, how's it going this round for you?
Going okay. Just still turn 1 and everything, Val, but I moved and I haven't died yet, so that's kind of a bonus.
You know, every time I move and don't die, that's a big victory for me, so that's excellent.
Absolutely, and just great event. Obviously great management, awesome layout, great opponent. Thomas has explained Tournnament since I haven't played them since 8th edition, which was a while back, and enjoying the time. Thanks for popping over.
Hey, my pleasure. Thanks for having us. Oh, well, I do my best. All right, Rob and Pete, why don't you get your feet off the table, sharpen up those tongues, whittle down that wit, and get ready, because I'm throwing it back to you in the booth.
Thank you very much. Hello, welcome back to Capital Bloodbath 2022. We're in round 3 of 6 and round 3 of 4 today at the event here in Ottawa. I'm joined by the Falcon, and me and the Falcon are going to be talking through these games. We've got Harlequins. This is the match, Harlequins versus Sisters of Battle. And so very excited to talk about this. We are in the bottom of 2, I'm pretty certain.
Yes, we're. This is. No, I believe this is top of 2.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Well, yes. Top of 2.
Yeah, I believe this is top of 2 for the. Oh.
No, Harlequin. No. It's bottom of 2.
No, this is bottom.
Yeah, bottom of 2.
Harlequins have already gone.
In the first turn, what we saw was Celestine, who you can currently see in the center, move out from her territory into the center of the board. Then we saw the Harlequins just take some pot shots into her, taking her down by a couple of wounds and getting rid of all of her Gemini. And then we saw the response from Sisters at the top of turn 2 charge into that unit of Skyweavers. You can see at the top with some Repentia. Unfortunately, the Repentia lost that fight, and the 2 Skyweavers are still there. Celestine's still in the middle of the board as well, and I'm not really sure what we're going to see this Harlequin turn do.
Well, I believe we're actually still with the Sisters right now.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so what we're seeing here is we're seeing the Zephyrim come in, and we'll see the Seraphim and the Zephyrim and the Seraphim come in. Repentia that had been in reserves are going to come in off the side of the board. He maneuvered his Retributor squad so that they're just touching the edge of this ruin, so they can pick off these 2 bikes. And once again, the Harlequins only managed to kill the Gemini. They put Celestine on 3 or 4 wounds once again. She once again healed back up with her action, popped the Gemini back on to keep scoring those points. And it's kind of frustrating for Tim. He now knows that he's going to need to go a lot further in. He was able to pick up those retention at the top with just shooting from these Skyweavers that he brought into this ruin.
Okay.
So the Mortifiers are going to be trying to pick up this Starweaver with the shooting from their like heavy bolters. We'll have to see like how much he's able to do there with light being what it is and the -1 to hit. I don't imagine they're going to do a lot, but they have no other option to shoot at. So
it's a tough army to fight. It's a tough army to deal with, is the Harlequins, right? It's because they've got that naturally inbuilt invulnerable save, so it's a real dicey game as to whether or not you're going to do the damage to put through. But weight of dice works better?
Yeah, weight of dice does its job, and heavy bolters are exactly that, weight of dice with a little bit of AP. I think we've got the Retributors now shooting into the Skyweavers, or maybe he's changing his mind.
Well, we can listen in. Why don't we just take a moment to listen into this game and see how the players are doing?
Yeah. Use. Yep.
Good.
Yeah. Cool. And I think that's it, to be fair. Okay, so charge. I'm going to start with the Repentia here on the boat there.
I'm going to run away.
Yeah.
So we just heard there that the start of the charge phase means the Repentia did not.
They did no damage.
Just
the
outside of
Skyweavers made their invuln, and
That's
was
my
it.
intention.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, you're fine. I
able to do what they
can
wanted.
charge 9 maximum.
Yeah.
But are you still outside of 12?
I'm outside of 12, yeah.
Okay, so you're fine.
So
Celestine,
yeah, the
to charge
Repentia
here?
declared a charge. The the Starweaver declared that if he did that, he was going to, I believe it's a stratagem to move 6 inches when a charge is declared against you.
Yeah.
So that's just not happening. So it's now no longer possible. We do have Celestine and the Gemini going into the Starweaver that had moseyed on up to that middle objective. They will remove the last 4 wounds for sure.
So they've heroically intervened.
I believe they just charged in.
They just charged in.
Yeah.
Okay, and there we see the Repentia at the top.
And the bodyguards have charged the bikes that the multi-melters were unable to kill.
So the Sacrosancts at the top have charged into the bikes. Okay, interesting. Because it feels like the Harlequin army is delivering all of its output very piecemeal, but at the same time,
it's both. It's going that way, like both ways.
Yeah, but that's what I mean. Yeah, they're both doing it for some what appears to be some pretty limited trades.
Yes, and I think that's what this game has been and will always be about. Although this Repentia squad coming in from reserve and then being forced to fail that charge, that's kind of big for Tim. It does give him. It basically feeds him them. Because all he has to do is mosey down a couple boats, maybe this bike squad, and he should be able to pick them up relatively easy from range. And that's a great thing for him. If one less Repentia squad on the board, it's one more thing that he can now put his troops. He can put his troops into something else.
So do you think is this currently just a game of trying to get as many?
It's cat and mouse.
Oh, it's cat and mouse. Yeah, very interesting.
Both ways, and it's really cute.
Super cute. We'll talk about not cat and mouse, more like hammer and bolter on table 2. This is a lot of damage potentially coming out from Tau. We were when we last were at this game at the bottom of 2. If we can just get an update from our table boss on where we are on table 2, and find out, that would be cool. But I think we were at the bottom of 2, and as you can see, the hammerheads at the top have now started to move out. I assume that they're going to be putting a lot of shots that you can see Celestine in the top center there. If we just, thank you very much,
all
Pete.
by her lonesome.
All by her lonesome. She charged into a unit of Kroot and was unable to do any particular damage. Obviously
she
wiped them
out
out.
the Kroot, but because she hadn't
piled in.
Hadn't piled in. She wasn't able to tag either the hammerheads. So they've repositioned. I'm wondering if we can get our table boss onto the other table just to get an update on what's been going on over there.
Yeah. Yeah, that would be good. But we see that, as you can see, we've pushed out that center objective as well. In the center, that we did have a unit of Propentia going in, I think.
So there had been a unit of Zephyrim that had struck the crisis suits. They appear to have been deleted. And we do have, it looks like one. This was the Canoness, I believe, that was sitting on the objective behind those Zephyrim. That's not a good place to be hanging out alone with Tau in front of you and shooting to go, but I don't see any dice being put on her, so that's interesting. Hammerhead is going into something at the bottom of the board we cannot see. Wondering if, Richard, here you can tell us what the targeted priority here is.
So we're just listening now to where the Hammerhead is being targeted. Okay.
Okay, so the smart missiles are going into the ladies over here by the sounds of things. There is this a unit? It looks like a unit of a Repentia or something have come in on this edge of the board at the very bottom.
So we're just going to listen into the players now.
Just to get a better idea.
Just get a better idea of what's going on.
Okay. And
-3.
-3 down to -2. So I'm going to roll 1 here. Is it worth the CP? I think so. No.
And you have another Hammerhead that can see him?
You have quite a bit of other shooting.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the other Hammerhead can see.
Can see.
Okay. So that one fails. How much damage? Yeah.
2d3.
Okay. Yeah. So you get her.
And smart missiles. 8 dice.
Mm-hmm.
5's a hit though. 3 hits.
Mm-hmm.
Toughness.
3 on the Canoness.
The little chainsaw guys.
Yeah. Oh, sorry. In the back here. Yeah. Toughness 3 still.
3 wounds.
Okay.
-1, no cover.
Okay. So I'm going to get a 6-up invulnerable save for 3 of them. So I do make 2, and then a 5-up feel no pain. Nope.
Yeah,
so you kill
I got
1.
So pretty tense in shooting phase. So we're just hearing Dark Striders shooting now. You guys can hear along with us.
Strength 5. Tau Sept. 2 wounds, -2.
What's the damage?
2 damage.
Okay. So I'll roll 1. So -2, that's going to go through, and then I'll put the 4 in for this save.
What a miracle die.
So she's using a miracle die.
Cool.
To keep that Canoness alive after the Dark Strider shot.
So she's
the Canoness is located
directly in the middle of the board.
Oh, directly
she's
in the middle.
on the objective right
So
here.
she's holding it for the next turn, right?
Oh, in hope for that's what he hopes. But this mission does not have sticky objectives. So if she dies,
she dies. Yeah.
Everyone's within 12, so 10.
Cruder are shooting into the Celestine now.
That makes
Get rid of
sense.
some little helpers first.
If you can pick up the Gemini, and then the Hammerheads can actually just
absolutely
drop bombs.
annihilate her.
Yeah.
Yes, that would be a really good play.
We've just heard that neither the Cold Star nor Shadow Sun have fired either. That's real bad news. Real bad news for Celestine. Hanging out in the open.
2 wounds.
I mean, he put her there, right? Like, I feel like with the board state as it is, I saw someone in the chat earlier was talking about.
Tom was mentioning like the way the board was. It was very hard for him. He had to engage.
No, we had one of the other chatters in the chat talk about. I think they were helping and involved with the setup of the terrain
for sure.
But those elves were meant to. They were meant to make it so that it blocked line of sight, but also it didn't necessarily artificially inflate combat units, which a lot of like the early 9th edition terrain boards did tend to do.
Well, a big thing about the 2 Ls like that, from a player placed perspective, is often in player placed terrain, especially if you know what you're doing, that first piece is so integral. So like melee armies are always going to want to put that big ruin kind of facing away from them in the middle. Shooting players want the smaller pieces in the middle, so they have bigger lines of fire. So it removed that like dichotomy that would happen from that first piece of terrain by forcing you to be like, this is what's in the middle. You pick the rest. The one thing I think maybe they could do next year is look at like how they could shift that middle depending on what the deployment map is.
I agree with that.
A very small change, and still.
And with 4-hour rounds, there really is no 2.5-hour rounds, but 4 rounds in a day. Okay, so
the commanders picked up the 2 Gemini and put a wound on Celestine.
Wow, Celestine is about to face 2 hammerheads. Wow.
Yes. Well, there's hammerheads. There's also Shadow Sun. There's lots of stuff that hasn't fired yet. So.
Lots and lots of stuff have not fired. And Celestine, I do not know if she's going to be long for this world, Pete. Like, you know, she's going back into the loving embrace of the Emperor's arms right now. That's her trick.
Well, see.
We'll see what the players are saying. So a smart tactic is always to reduce down the defensive nature of some of these units, right? All about target priority. Like a key factor in 40k and how you play is reducing. Like it's choosing the right tools for the right jobs. Even more so than maybe like something like Age of Sigmar, because like obviously everything just wounds on whatever it wounds on. However, in 40k, like you want those high strength weapons or those high AP weapons into the right targets.
Exactly. Are we live?
Yes.
Are we mic live?
Yeah.
We just got the greasiest donuts I've seen in my life.
Yes. Yeah, we got.
Thank you, Seth Oster.
Thank you to Seth Oster. Thank you to Seth Oster in the chat for sending us some food. That's very much appreciated.
And
So 3 die?
2 dice. I roll a 6 for
Oh,
the
sorry. Yeah. Okay. Here you go.
Is that?
The other boat will do the same thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, they're little mini
4 hits.
mini donuts that are hot.
Oh, nice.
I'm gonna luck die. No, I don't have any. 3 on the Repentia.
Okay.
2 damage each.
Yeah. Okay. Those 2 again. No, 3 more.
3. 1 left.
Yeah.
Do you care?
No.
There you go. Okay, I'm gonna do.
So we just heard there's 1 Repentia left
Jester,
after shooting from the
these
boats
guys.
there. So there's a little zoom in, Pete. Is that what you needed?
Okay, so it's the 3 bikes. So the 3 bikes that had been
Minus
at the,
1 for
at
the
the
forest,
left are
2
hanging
hits.
out here. Like Tim has decided
2
Celestine
wounds,
needs to
AP2.
die. This is too much BS
AP1.
that
Yeah,
he's had to
4
deal
up.
with.
1 die.
So we can cut back and watch the
The
action
boat
here.
itself will shoot you. 3 hits. Nope, 2 hits. Sorry. 1 AP3, 1 AP1 on the sisters.
Which one we want?
AP1.
AP1, so no AP basically, yeah.
Very good.
And the other one, yeah, it's fine.
Okay. I'll do the 3 bikes. They'll shoot their star bullets here. And that actually. Yeah, I have to. Haywire here, star bullets there.
Okay.
So the star bullets at Celestine. So that's 7. Two AP3.
Fine.
Good. And then the Haywire.
So you have -1, right?
Yep.
No,
So it's 4, 7, 9, 7.
it's D3 plus 1 each time,
D3
right?
plus 1, yeah. 4s. Ooh, that was bad. 2 AP3 on the sisters.
2 dice.
Got
Oh,
'em.
yeah, they did. Yeah.
Okay, and then that boat is going to shoot the Repentia.
Yeah. On 4s.
-1 for the 4s. 2.
Okay, double 6.
Okay, cool. All right. The troop in here at Celestine. 2 Neurodisruptors, 2 mortal wounds.
Yeah.
2 fusion pistols, 1 hit, 1 wound, AP4. So 4 pinball.
We
Cool.
use a 6.
And then a grenade,
Yep.
4. 3 hits. 2 saves, AP1. So 2 ups. You're good. The other unit will do the same thing.
Yeah.
2 Neurodisruptors, 1 mortal.
Yeah.
And then 2 fusions, both miss. The guys in that boat will shoot everything at the Sacrosands. Actually, I'll shoot the lone bike first. He'll throw a star bullets at the Retributors.
Yeah.
And everything else at those guys. So the
Bolas.
Star Bolas,
Yeah.
2. 1 hit. 1 wound, AP3.
Fine. No,
No.
I don't think so.
And then at the other guys, 4 shots. 2 hits. 1 AP3 on the Sacrosands.
Okay.
Kills
One
one.
dice.
The guys in the transport at them.
Yeah.
2 Neurodisruptors, 2 mortal wounds, 2 fusion pistols, both hit. 1 invul.
Nope.
Kills 1. And then a grenade. 2. 1 hit. 1 wound AP1.
Yep,
You're good.
fine.
The boat itself will shoot you.
Yeah.
4 AP1.
So 2. 2.
Okay, so only 3 wounds left on Celestine, it seems.
So
charge phase?
what we've seen
Yeah.
here
The
is
triple charge
now that
self-force.
we've got our mic fixed for the table boss,
Hold on a
make
second,
it-
sorry.
Yeah, you're
I
fine.
think
Tim
I
has
will
finally come
overwatch
out to
that.
play. He's managed to pull
6.
almost all of the Repentia that were
5,
out in the
nice.
open. The Sacrosands are down to 1 at the top. Celestine lost her Gemini and
one
has
miracle
3
dice
wounds
to
left.
do auto wounds.
We can see Tim
Oh la
has
la, come on,
taken
sorry.
this middle with
Sorry
those
about
3
that.
bikes.
We're good.
So
He's
it's 4
destroyed
total.
terrain, just violently letting those troops know
Yep.
what he thinks of them.
I'm going to CP
this
one of those.
should
Does it matter?
spell the
I make
end
it?
for Celestine here
The
with
one die.
that troop squad being right there, being capable of charging
And
her.
they're in.
Hard to say though, because she is a beast when
The
she
boat
wants
is
to
on the
be.
objective.
Yeah, so troop has actually successfully charged. This one single Sacrosan's not going to be doing a whole lot for the sisters.
Ooh, 1 mortal wound on the charge.
Yeah, so Celestine's down to 2 wounds remaining.
Okay, so this isn't going to be the key piece, like, for the Sisters Army, right? Like, Celestine's very important, but based on how I'm seeing Ivis play, he's been pretty cavalier, as has the other table. So this can't be the key piece for holding the whole army together.
No, it definitely isn't. She's an amazing piece. And what he did with her, I think, was actually, in the end, like a pretty smart play, even though it felt like she was kind of dangling in the wind. The fact was, like, she was constantly scoring, or at least 2 turns scoring that Defend the Shrine. And it forced Tim out. So now Tim's out in the open, and I think Eve is just kind of hoping that he can make the best of the counterattack. Losing this Repentia squad, he definitely did not expect to have happen. That ability to run away from the charge, I think he did not expect it to get popped on when it was, and that put him in a really bad spot. Okay, so we're going to CP to see if Celestine stays on 1 wound. She just took what should be her last one. And now it must have gone through because now we're seeing a ton more dice being thrown.
Yeah, a ton more dice being thrown.
Yeah, so she lives on 1 wound.
She's still alive on 1 wound, and now she's going into the transport.
And she's going to get to fight the troops there and pick them all up.
Oh, the troop is cleared.
That's big for Eve. That is real big. The look on Tim's face is pretty.
He's pretty happy. He's pretty happy that he's got to keep her alive.
Yeah, Tim is just like, thanks, Eve. This is exactly what I wanted. I wanted that piece to just stay where it was and full heal.
Wow.
There's a blue bag for the Falcon at the door also. Sadly, not donuts though. Okay, I guess someone's gonna have to go get the blue bag. Oh wow.
Oh wow! Oh wow! Okay, so let's go. So now that we are able to hear what's happening, we could find out what's happening on table 2 with our Tau army. As we can see, Celestine did not die from the Tau shooting phase at the top, and that seems like a bold choice. Deciding not to take out Celestine with shooting does in fact mean that they then, I think we had to see. Oh, that's lovely. We had to see some. I think have I seen some charges at the top right-hand corner?
Yes. So if we can get a little bit of an update here now that we can actually hear the table boss, it does look like Celestine had to have survived all that shooting because she's in combat now with a Cold Star commander by the looks of things from this angle.
A commander and a unit charge
Did
into
he
it.
not put the hammerheads into her just to finish her
She
off?
survived the hammerheads. Unbelievable. The whole army, the kitchen sink.
Did he tell her that she didn't have an invulnerable save?
At different points, I think drones were being thrown at her.
Like physically thrown if she survived all of that.
Yeah, absolutely.
What
Yeah,
the heck?
That's crazy. That's crazy. I was like, she's definitely dead now. This is twice we've seen Celestine used pretty cavalier across 2 games, and the opposing army.
This is amazing for the sisters. It really gives them a shot. Now he's able to push out, and we're seeing it. This looks like another squad of Zephyrim have come in, probably that had been hiding in here, so they can run out and start taking shots at these hammerheads. What?
They've got to be so happy about this. This is fantastic. I love this.
Chris Sage is sitting there. He's got his pants are as tight as he's ever had them in his life, and it's not from the donut we shared with him. By the way, Seth Oster, there was more liquid in that donut than I've had in a cup of coffee.
I especially enjoy being here in Canada. Thank you very much, because it's the first time anyone's ever sent donuts while I've been live streaming an event.
I want to see what's in this blue bag. I'm really hoping it's not a 7 scenario and it's Gwyneth Paltrow's head. But other than that, this is pretty.
This is pretty good.
Pretty good.
So now we're into the sister shooting phase. So if the score is updated, which I'll just triple check, it is updated. Okay, perfect.
So 33. Oh no, it hasn't been updated.
It hasn't been updated. Okay.
So it will be updated shortly. We'll get to see exactly what's going on here. Our table boss Richard. We've been making, behind his back, and you guys couldn't hear it, we've been calling the worst. It just turns out he didn't know how to talk into a microphone.
It's not. It's just...
Oh, he's mad at me now. I can see everyone. He's so mad at me.
He's doing great.
He's just the loveliest fellow.
So don't forget, all these games will also be recorded in full if you're ever interested to listen to the games back afterwards. So that way we get the best of both worlds. We get some light-hearted commentary while we're talking about the games. In addition, if you're one of the people, one of the sick freaks who want to listen to 3 hours of player audio 40K.
The weirdest way to play 40K.
The weirdest way to listen to 40K. That is also available in the future as well, if that helps you out. So then into the sister shooting phase, what, Pete, do we think we're going to see them shoot into?
Well, he's got Morven Vol up, so I'm assuming she's going to try to take out this hammerhead right here from her position. Depending on what she does, we have these, I believe the Retributors were still in this, and they're in a position to also fire depending on how many wounds he's got left. Right now, that would be my play, is try to pick up a couple more of these hammerheads so you don't have to have another butt-clenching decision here with Celestine once she picks up this commander in her face. And then it's how do you deal with that large block of crisis suits that are relatively untouched? Yeah, very, very untouched. And the hammerheads are in a safe space as well. Yeah, it looks like several of them have taken a number of wounds. I'm assuming Morven Vol's line of sight was so that she could at least try to do enough damage to one of them to either pick it up or bracket it right here. So you see her here firing into this one. So we got an update to the score. If we can go pop that back to that view.
Sure. So this is table 2.
And why don't we get some player audio, hear what they're saying? I know that they're pretty quiet guys, but...
Get him.
Oh, here we go.
So I'm going to roll a miracle die for killing something and shooting.
Oh, there we go. So we just killed the hammerhead at the top there.
Yep.
And he was hoping to blow up some more of those sisters.
Kill these probably. I think these are either Seraphim or Zephyrim that have popped down.
So here's the scorecard for you very quickly. 45-23 for Adeptus Sororitas.
Sure.
So
let's see what you think.
Do it for sure. I'm just going to tuck in here. The Zephyrim are going to charge just your...
Zephyrim are these guys?
Yeah.
Okay.
They're going to charge Shadows on there.
Okay.
Okay, so we're going to move on to combat. So we'll start with the Zephyrim there and the Shadowson.
Yep.
Threes. 1-6 explodes.
Okay. Tough as 5.
5s. 4.
4?
Yeah.
Guardian drone, so it'll die. The other one, negative.
4s.
Okay.
Jeez. Okay, and then the 3 6s that explode.
Okay. Strength of
6.
toughness 7.
Okay, so 5s.
2.
2.
Negative.
Negative 4. 2
Well,
damage
that's
each.
Straight damage. So
Okay.
down to 10.
Okay. And then you would get an existing combat wherever you want to pick here.
This guy into here.
Sure.
Rerolls all hits and wounds. 3s.
Okay, well, an exciting match right there. We're going to go over right now to our man in the field, Mr. Val Heffelfinger, and find out what's been happening at the rest of Capital City Bloodbath. You're live.
And I'll activate Celestine there.
Hello there, it's Val Heffelfinger once again, out here in the field, in the wild, amongst the people. My people, our people, Warhammer 40,000 people, and this is one of the best people, Captain Canada himself, Christopher Haynes. How are you today?
Well, yourself? How are you guys doing?
Doing just fine, and loving the scene. Capital City Bloodbath, always one of my favorite times of year.
Thank you.
Now, you are also head judge today.
I prefer the term referee.
Oh, he's a ref. That's a European thing, guys. Yeah. Don't worry about it.
We're doing more active reffing this year, so we will interact if we do see things that are incorrect on the tables, and we'll also do measuring and line of sight if people request it, just to make sure that it's more accurate and fair for everybody.
That's actually super awesome. Now, I did notice that you were doing some active and very specific judging on one table. Everything going all right over there?
Oh, yeah. So, yeah, it's just last time I think they had a little bit of a contentious game, so this tournament I just thought I'll keep an eye on it, but yeah.
And he's not there anymore, so that means everything's good, right? All right. So, you guys had a great year, I thought, for Team Canada.
Oh, at the WTC? Yeah, very good year. We set the national record, which is 9th place.
9th place, but also 4-2. Have you guys done 4-2 before?
No. And this year was the first year they did 7 rounds. Usually they just do 6.
4-3.
It was 3-2-2.
All right, so I screwed it up. Oh, no. Like your record. What was your record?
Oh, 4-2. Yeah. No. So it's 4-3.
4-3. Still pretty damn good, man. Because that's pretty awesome. What do you think made the difference? I was talking with Adam Camilleri about building up Team Australia the other day. And, they have a pretty established but developed program. Somewhere around the time I left the team, you guys got a lot more serious about it. I snuck right in there. How do you feel about where the program's at and how you guys have been able to build more of an organization?
Yes, it's been going really well. So we've been kind of centering the team around. We went from basically a kind of open selection, very just kind of who could go, kind of who has money, yeah. And we kind of moved to this one team philosophy, which is it's like a business thing where, everybody's allowed to kind of disagree within the team, and then you show a united front out of the team. And so we use this philosophy to kind of cut, it sounds bad, but we used to cut people and to pick people and to kind of train and practice. And we did a lot of TTS practice. We did a lot of playing at team events, and then we kept track of all of our data. And so we used that to kind of pick people that were more consistent, more dedicated. We also didn't go strictly for the best players. We went with the more dedicated, because just because you're kicking face in singles, it doesn't necessarily mean that you'll contribute to the team. So that seemed to help us out a lot as well.
That's pretty awesome. Actually, you touched on something there that I find really fascinating, especially coming through COVID, which is sort of the advent of a tabletop simulator meta.
Yeah.
For a country like Canada, which has always sort of struggled with the fact that we're 100 miles tall and 4,000 wide, trying to get at that team cohesion, how big has sort of that tool, that technology to sort of play games virtually been for building that program up?
So TTS was a game changer because we used it during initial selection. So we had people apply from across the country, and it allowed them to be actually tested, because you could see a guy, wherever, lives in Saskatchewan, wins all their events, but you don't actually know if he's good against the regular meta or not. And so that was helpful. We also used it to scrim against Northern Ireland, Germany, Poland multiple times, and just to various other teams, and even just random teams on the internet we scrimmaged against. And that really helps you to get that team dynamic, because what happens if you only practice internally is you don't remove your biases, right? So it's we may internally think sisters are good against this because they crush everybody, But in reality, you go external and you're like, oh, they aren't so good into these matchups that we thought were good. So it helped out a lot, TTS.
So like, now that you're getting a lot more of the like the group mentality going, and you're like actually you have a lot more inputs as a captain, you know, hair dictator, you know, how does that change your leadership of it, or how you think about it? Do you feel like it's not just you sort of like trying to drag this thing along now?
To a certain extent, yeah, it's still a lot of work. This year, though, to be clear, it's our first year doing an election. And so anybody that was top 16, we call it, in the previous...
I'm announcing my candidacy for captain of Team Canada.
So you're not actually eligible, technically. You would have had to have been a traveling player in either Serbia or Belgium.
What? That seems pretty arbitrary. I mean, 1 year before. 1 year before that.
That's 4 years ago.
I mean, 2 of those, I mean, like, come on, man. I mean, like, there's some tread on these tires.
Well, if you're serious, we could talk about it, but no. So we're following a lot of other countries where we're doing a previous 2-year model. Yeah. And actually, one thing that should be meant is even though we went to Europe with 9 players, our team was actually 16 players. So we did have a cohort of people that stayed behind, but they were still technically team members, and they supported the team. They spared for the team. They helped us practice, write lists, and things like that. So, so from now on, if you're in the top 16 for the previous 2 years, you get to vote. And if you went, you can run for captaincy, but you need to be nominated by another person. As of right now, we have 1 more week or 2 left in the nominations. I'm actually running unopposed right now, but you know, if somebody wants to run, they can.
Well, I mean, the way that you've eliminated competition, it doesn't surprise me that you're running unopposed. But, you know, rules is rules. And, you know, you wrote the Constitution, and I guess it just favors people who didn't go to Croatia when there was literally no criteria aside from do you have room on your credit card.
You're right. And like, so we had to take these steps going year by year because we were essentially just like literally just who can go goes. And actually in Croatia, we had mercenaries from the UK on our team.
Well, we had the Honest Wargamers own Tom Layton.
We had Tom and we had Gavin. And Ben's technically Canadian, even though he lived in the UK. So if you think about it in that regard, you know, the last 2 times we've had full teams from the country, so it's a good sample size. Yeah.
You're taking me way too seriously.
I'm just being honest because I want this to get out there. Like, it is not a dictatorship. It was, but we're trying to move that way forward, right? Well, let's be honest. If I don't want to step down, but I want it to be fair, and I want other people to have a shot. And then when I do retire, because I am getting older and slowing down, it would be nice to have a system that could just replace me, right?
Well, and you know what? Like, to be honest with you, man, there's probably nothing ultimately that would be more fulfilling than being able to step away, let someone else take over, but know that it's going to keep growing and continue in the future. And I believe they call that a legacy. And I hope that you have a bright legacy, much like you've brought it here at the Capital City Bloodbath, the tournament itself, which is a legacy. I'd like to thank you for this wonderful in-depth interview. We're going to go right back to Rob Symes and a bearded dude.
We are back. Chris Haynes.
The most bearded of dudes.
Yeah, what a fantastic human being.
Chris Haynes really is, and just like one of the most handsome men in this room.
Yeah.
At the very least.
Thank you, Chris. Thank you for your service, Chris.
Yes.
I salute you. I Canadian salute you, which is I make my hands into the shape of a maple leaf, and then I dive into a hot butterscotch broth is what I do. So welcome back. We are in round three of the Capital City Bloodbath, a 100-person plus 40k event, and we have got Tau playing Adeptus Sororitas, Chris versus Rick. And we'll just get an update in a moment, but there's no microphone, obviously, from this. But we're in an interesting place here, Falcon. Tell us what's happened so far.
Well, I still think Tau have a bit of the advantage. So this map really did favor Tau because there's this all these crazy lines of fire that really made it so that this close combat Heavy Sisters army really had to push out in order to be able to accomplish anything. Unfortunately, at first for Tau, that meant kind of what it looked like sacrificing Celestine by shoving her up almost by herself along with a character and a couple of Zephyrim, which all were mutilated almost instantly, except somehow Celestine survived.
Crazy.
In one round, she was knocked down to one wound and managed to res fully along with her Gemini. Last round, when she was all by herself, surrounded by hammerheads, multiple characters, etc., she was eventually killed by the last shot, but was rezzed on a 2+.
amazing.
So she came back. She got her Gemini back. But now this should, in theory, spell the end of her, as we have now another turn, this time surrounded by crisis suits that have literally put all of their shots into her, along with what's left of the Kroot, the 20 Kroot or so that are still surviving, just trying to take her down so he doesn't have to keep wasting hammerhead shots into killing this lady. But still, she's currently standing there, so we'll have to see what goes on there.
She does not want to die. This is crazy. I can't believe how much output is currently surrounding her. Maybe a little bit of a better shot there. Like 2 hammerheads eyeballing her, a bunch of crisis suits, and this is the very representation of faith.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, you must believe if you want to keep
5
Celestine.
wounds remaining.
Yes.
Just living her best life.
Just trying her hardest.
If he doesn't kill her this time, like, I don't know. I think if I was the Tau player, I'd just give up.
I would just stop playing.
You got it.
Like, well, no, this is all you. You did so well, and you deserve this game more than I do. But other than that, the ball position looks pretty dominant.
It still looks very good for Tau. Like,
it's got to be that terrain. The terrain, I feel like there's zero opportunity for the Sisters players to like push out from where they're being deployed.
Yeah, especially with the L's like this, it was very hard, particularly into a list like this where these hammerheads can get such good angles, where this crisis suit could just sit right here and have the full get destroyed like corridor if you even wanted to come into that middle objective.
I do.
Which is why you only saw a cannon kind of pile in there along with a couple of Zephyrim. Score is still not bad. Let's take a moment to check out the scorecard, right? We are in turn 4. Sisters have been popping secondary. Tau have not been able to get this engage on all fronts. He lost his Cold Star commander.
Yep, of course.
And that's a big part of how he's planning on getting engage. No prisoners. We won't find out till the end of the game. So yeah, like this.
Well, so the no prisoners kind of artificially deflates the point at the moment until later, right?
Well, we're getting late in this game. Sisters could pull this off just based on how dominant they've been early. We'll have to see.
So it's probably very unlikely they're going to take defend the shrine now, because that's the center of the board, right?
Well, technically still alive as this little canonist.
Oh yeah, true. That's true.
And like he has Morven Val here. He can start feeding up the units now that there's only 2 turns remaining. I'm very curious to see if he can just pull this off. We did just see one of the units of Battle Sisters removed from the board. This is going to be key, clearing these off so he doesn't score another 12 on primary.
Yeah, because if he can take out Celestine. Oh, so we just did move, shoot, move in order to move on to the objective.
And now with being shorted down to 1 model, it is in his advantage.
Yeah, I would argue personally that like he's rolled this flank, right? Like the top of this board could well be his. But this is Morven Val. Morven Val, sorry. Morgan Val is actually the 40k version of Morgan Freeman.
Yeah.
Slightly different. Morgan Val's got the opportunity to take out the crisis suits next turn. Do you think Morgan Val's got the output to do that?
Nope.
No.
not that many. Nope. Especially with a couple of. So a couple of those drones still active there, like Morven Val, she might pick up a couple of the suits, but not enough for it to matter. We are in Kauyon, so all the shots are exploding.
Oh, there we go.
It
The
looks like
second death.
Darkstrider finally picked her up. Of all people.
The second death for Celestine. Celestine is now down in this game. Absolutely blammoed off the board there, top right-hand corner.
But Chris has to be happy with the performance of Celestine. Like, that's carried this game to be as close as it is. Was all on her back.
Yeah, very interesting. I think if we look at both games, so if we go over to table 1.
I would love to get back to that other table.
Yeah, you can see that. Like, I feel like the Sisters are doing much better at pushing out here.
Sisters have done what they needed to do. They cleared out that middle. Celestine surviving after everything she went through on 1 wound, and then just getting to pop back up and live her best life. Tim, I mean, I said earlier he was happy about this. I was clearly being facetious. So we're in the Harlequins move phase for turn 3. Still a close battle, 64-51. Or no, turn 4.
Turn 4.
It hasn't just. So it's going to be 64-59. We just heard that Tim's primary was 8 on this turn. It hasn't been put in yet. He has the opportunity to get some deadly performance points this turn. Raise the banners. He's been held back on pretty miserably for an Harlequins army because he's played so
defensively.
cagey. So defensively.
Why do you think that is? Like, why haven't we seen him push like more into the middle board?
There's a lot of fear about like Repentia and Zephyrim. They do so much damage, and Eve does have that fight last at his disposal. And I think the big thing was Tim really, for such a qualified player, for such an experienced player, he really underestimated how much Celestine would be capable of tanking. Celestine, in my opinion, is what's going to win Eve this game if it comes down to it. The fact that she
didn't die.
She had 3 full turns, going on 4 full turns now, sitting on that middle objective, getting defend the shrine for him. That's massive. That's so huge, and he was able to really slow roll his resources. He still has a squad of Repentia out there. He still has his mortifiers. I believe the Paragon Warsuits are still in play. Now there are quite a few troop. You can see there's a unit of troop on that middle objective right now. So it's very probable that if the Repentia will die to shooting, and then the troop will have to try to have their way with Celestine yet again. I believe that's the Kegarak Rose troop master hanging out there in front of those Zephyrim. So he's going to have to start making some plays. We've gone on to the psychic phase. Are both Shadow Seers still in play? Oh, that's a Shadow Seer.
That's the Shadow Seer. Yeah, so we just got the 4-up deny for a CP has just been used.
Yeah, it was to save those Zephyrim. I would no
Yeah,
doubt.
definitely. The mortal wounds would have been really good into them. Yeah.
That must be the troop master still hanging out so far in the back.
Interesting. Yeah, interesting. He's played so. Like Tim, don't forget, has just come back from WTC. Playing as part of a team, maybe he is still mentally in don't give up points mode.
Yeah, maybe. It's
very play through to the because there's a real big difference, Falcon. I talk about this a lot whenever I talk about Age of Sigmar, but playing to win versus playing not to lose.
Yeah.
Two very different mind states.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes players get, I don't know Tim particularly well. Maybe Tim's in a playing not to lose situation as opposed to playing to win. And I generally tend to find playing to win, weirdly, is actually the more victorious path, if that makes sense. It works better than playing not to lose because you put yourself under a lot of pressure.
It definitely does. One thing we do also need to remember, Tim does have bottom of turn, so he might be just playing keep it close in the hopes that he can turn it around on that last turn when that troop master can kind of come out to play. Shocked I haven't seen him kind of slingshot into anything yet, but this has been a closely fought match, a lot of back and forth. Still a lot of resources on the board for those sisters.
Yeah, still a lot. Yeah, still a lot and a lot to do. But I don't know whether they've got the resources to do it. That's the kind of problem. Harlequins looking very light though at the moment.
I mean, he still has about 15 troop, maybe even 20, because there is another full one at the back that he can call upon. The bikes are now shooting. I believe he's trying to clear out the retributors in the back.
So he's trying to kill.
If he kills the retributors, it gives him a little. It does give him a little softer of a way in with the remaining boats in the back, so that they can start hopping on objectives. We're looking to see if he can pick up those Zephyrim in the middle of the board as well. 2 remaining there.
Very interesting. Let's tune in to see how the players are doing.
Let's hear what they're saying.
So let's give it a little listen, shall we? So this is table 1, and let's have a listen.
Nope.
Kills 1, and then a shuriken pistol hits. Wounds, 1 more save. Yep. Okay. I'll shoot the boat itself at that lone girl. 4 hits. 2 AP3, 2 AP1.
So AP1 on 2+. She really needed to do.
Okay, the Death Jester will shoot the Repentia.
Yeah.
The 6 is 3 extra hits. 4, sorry, on the Repentia.
Yeah. 4, I will do 2 and 2.
2 damage each.
Okay, so 4 go through the. Yeah.
Oh, 4 go through, yeah.
Okay, so 1 dies already.
The other did.
Yeah. Generate miracle dice.
Okay. Charge phase? And these guys should be in your deployment zones. Those troops are going to charge the retributors.
Yeah.
8. It's just a marker, right?
It's for shooting again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I ignore it. So 3. Which one's the canoness is in the back, right?
Yeah. I haven't used it though, but if you don't kill the retributor. Yeah. Okay.
So I'm just staying outside of 3.
Okay.
Of the canoness. Okay. Do you want to?
Okay, well, a pretty exciting match so far. We'll come back to this in a moment if you don't mind, Falcon.
I don't mind at all. I'm going to walk over to the table while we listen to Val's sultry sounds.
Yeah, we're going to go over to our man in the field right now to bring us some hot stories from around the room.
Keep hacking your phone. 97, 67, yeah.
You're live.
Are we live? And we're live with Val Heffelfinger back out here in the field. We've got a fairly early result. We got the Blood Angel Beefcake himself, Sam Procopio. Say it with me now, Procopio.
Said it right. Saying it right, man, every time.
Or Prococchio. So how's your event going so far?
So far, so good. I've been fortunate to play some really great opponents, so it's kept me on my toes every game. I've been fortunate enough to actually take all 3 so far as of now. I've been on a decent run, I guess, you can say, but hey, it's a matter of time until you hit your counter on the wrong mission, wrong time. But hey, I'm gonna keep rolling with what I've got so far.
You know, I like that attitude. Keep it up. Of course, Capital City Bloodbath known for its 4 games in one day. First tournament I ever played in was at Capital City Bloodbath. I thought it was normal. How do you feel about the 4 rounds? You ready for it?
So I am actually ready for it. Reason being is because I just came back from the WTC, and those were like 12 to what felt like 72-hour days. Yeah. So I mean, really, really tough days there. I mean, air conditioning is fantastic, so it's keeping me on my toes as well. But no, it's going to be good so far, and I mean, I'm going to try and roll right into round 4 with it. See what goes. Yeah,
there's an alternate timeline where I'm actually still there, and it's just like Groundhog Day. But nonetheless, what happened most recently in this matchup? You had a little Blood Angels versus. I know you had playing a friend. Yep. I saw a very tender hug at the end of the game. Yep. Looked like maybe didn't break the way from Mark that he might have liked. Wound up 97-67. Anything to say from the game?
Yeah, no. Him and I have played this game. I want to say about 5-6 times, just in the first like 6 months of the year alone. So I mean, we both had nail biters every time. I know this is what the score says, and yeah, there's a bit of a gap there in points, but it really didn't reflect that way on the score sheet at all. Reason being is just because I was able to take the board at an earlier stage of the game than he wanted me to. He went first, which actually hurts him, believe it or not, because at that point he's just trying to trade with Custodes units, which mine unfortunately.
It's like that Canadian to U.S. dollar. The exchange rate ain't too good. You know what I'm saying?
You hit it on the button with that one.
Oh Lord. So one thing about the way the terrain is set up here is that you do have player place, but they have that little nuance of the center ruins stay the same. I like get in close, mix it up, and control the mid-table type army like yours. Probably likes those middle ruins.
So believe it or not, the middle ruins, because of their static placement and the fact that they have a lot of windows, I actually don't like for my army too much. So it's actually a lot more patience I need on my end to kind of really cut down angles depending on what I'm playing against, and using the other 2 large 3-story ruins to my advantage. Otherwise, I mean, yes, though, in theory, what you're saying at a high level, my army does like the fact that I can post up where I need to, hold objectives where I want to, and then try and dictate the scoring from there.
Amazing. Well, thanks for making me feel okay about my ignorance. I appreciate that. Sam's a legendary good. I was hoping he'd be shorter because now he's also about as tall as me and in much better shape. So speaking of people in better shape than me, no, I'm not talking about Peter and Rob, but I'm still going to kick it back to them. Over to you, Rob, who's not paying attention. He's putting his headset on very slowly. He's thinking, oh, they want me to go back on the internet. Sam's just going to drink it all in, family. Over to Rob.
Welcome back, everyone. Sorry about that. So sorry. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to these exciting games. We have Harlequins versus the Adeptus, the devilish and faithful women of the 40K universe, basically. And it's been a really, really interesting match. These middle runes have caused some issues, but there's kind of this game is kind of a tale of reversals, especially if we use it as the mirror to the other match that we're going to talking about. So we have the Harlequins, who did have Celestine in the middle for quite a while, but surviving on 1 wound after shooting a combat really led them to be able to push out aggressively into the Harlequins force. So the sisters in a really good place there, but never really being able to leave either of those two kind of big L-shaped ruins, which we just heard talked about by Corey Pakanimi. And then this is very different to what we're going to see in the other match. Pete, catch us up on this game.
So the game we have here, Eve versus Tim, this is hotly contested. Tim now feeling a little confident after that last turn. He scored a little bigger than he thought he would. He's going to max his primary. Eve was trying to figure out if there was any way he could deny that. It looks like it's basically going to be impossible for him unless he has quite the turn. Tim did position himself in such a way. He was waiting. He knew he wouldn't be able to kill Celestine, so he was just, that's why he kept his Troop Master up here, just waiting to have that epic battle between these two combat beasts. So that was what that was all about. Tim still does have a number of resources that he can try to shove into that mid board if he needs to. It's going to be down to the wire. Like you said, Eve kind of forced himself to play as defensively as possible, just kind of piecemealing units up here. And yeah, so he ended up keeping like his Paragon war suits. His mortifiers only have now just kind of come up to deal with this troop unit in the middle. The Paragons have just sat in this bottom, I believe it's here, in this bottom ruin for literally the entire game doing nothing. And then he's got this unit of Zephyrim that have charged, or that have surrounded the troops that had taken this objective away from him in the last round. This is going to be tight by the end of this. So it looks like the Seraphim are going to use their drop shoot stratagem in order to shoot in the movement phase to try and pick up some of these troops. This could be anybody's game. A 7-point differential. Tim, on the Troop Master. So okay, so he repositioned them up here, and he's popping everything he can into this Troop Master to try and kill it, so that Celestine has a better chance of living next turn if she pops onto the objective.
Interesting. Very interesting.
That's a really great play for him. Once again, Tim having bottom of turn, he's going to have that end of turn scoring where he can maneuver around, and he's so fast. He still has this boat. He still has these bikes. These troops are not long for this world, I don't imagine, unless he has some kind of sneaky trickery that we haven't heard of. But the Troop Master has been dead. Deleted by that. That's a pretty, well, I guess it would have been 2 CP play.
At the back, yeah, that's pretty important. Like that resource management for keeping that CP in effect is going to be pretty key in this match. Okay, lots to play for. Again, just looking at the scorecard, which has been updated, you can see Eves has got 12 on Defend the Shrine now, and Leap of Faith 8, and Retrieve Nephilim Data 8. And then behind enemy lines, Raise the Banner Sign, Deadly Performance. Raise the Banners has been the main problem. He's never been able to go and get towards many of the objectives.
He's only been able to keep the 2 that were on his side of the board. So he's had these banners most of the game. But he hasn't been able to get up into the middle to start getting any more from that. Deadly Performance, he should get another 3 next turn just by having models still alive. And he'll max out his primary. He did do a good job of holding back Eve's primary score. Eve was only scoring 10 or 11 every turn rather than being 11 every turn rather than being able to max, which has been good for Tim. Celestine's going to try to pop this boat here now that the Troop Master is dead. This is going to be tight. I feel like this is going to be a matter of a couple of points here, depending on how successful Celestine is with her damage.
So where is Celestine on the board right now?
She's right here.
Celestine is right there. So again, that 1 wound. She was in the center ruins, wasn't she, Pete?
She was.
On
she hopped
1
over.
wound, and she hopped over and is now engaged in that backfield.
And this charge would have allowed her to get onto the objective, which was kind of part of his plan. Richard, do you know if there's anything left in that boat? Are there any troops in that boat back there?
Find out.
So there are 5 troops remaining in both of these. So, and a Death Jester.
And a Death Jester. That's some nice options.
He does have a lot of options here. This is a really tight game. Can we quickly pop to the over to the other game? I know it's
sure.
I feel like it's close to finished. 70-41 turn 4, but there's not a lot left for the Sisters.
No, if we just take a moment to look at the score, you can see there. So Sisters on 70. And again, I think we haven't got the no prisoners scoring yet, so that adds some points.
But Engage and Banners might be
too low.
Might be too low here. And Leap of Faith, I'm not sure if that's been scored very properly, because I know that Chris has been using his Acts of Faith like pretty crazy here, so I'm curious to see if that's up to date.
But what's interesting is that the Sisters have been able to roll the flank at the bottom, it seems.
Yes, they have been able to come up on this flank. I mean, this is still a large blob of Kroot. You have another couple Kroot hanging out over here. The Crisis Suits have to have this objective for the rest of their lives if they want it. Yeah, we're moving. I'm assuming now we've moved into the Tau turn, so once the points get updated for turn 4, it'll be a little bit closer.
But still far away.
The game on secondaries is rough for Tau. That seems like a secondary problem for him more than anything. 70-49.
Because I feel like there's been a lot of output from the Tau.
Oh yeah,
and they've done some really good
jobs. They've held him back. Yeah, but Chris has been playing the mission better.
Yeah, Chris has been playing all of the missions better, right?
The secondary choice is killing Rick. Just killing him.
Yeah, engaged on all fronts. Like, I don't know how he thought he was getting across there, especially when he was worried about going across because of all the counterattack. And then raise the banners high. Like, again, if he's not going out there for engage, he's definitely not getting banners, right?
Exactly.
Interesting. Very interesting.
I mean, he will get a number. Now that he's started to clear things off, I imagine we're going to start to see those banners numbers and engage numbers actually start to lift. But that might be what costs him this game, because he's definitely had the board control this whole time.
Yeah.
Really, other than Celestine living her best life, like...
So 73-51, 22 points in it. This is going to be interesting. And Rick's going to score big at the end.
Chris has almost max primary. So he probably will max primary at the end as long as he holds that one objective in the back corner. Good on Chris for being hammered down like this and still just keeping himself ahead based
even though both games we talked about how difficult it was going to be for those Sisters to push out because of those problematic those big dead spaces in the center and the bottom, and actually it's turned out it's like it feels like the secondaries have really played in their favor.
Secondaries have played in the favor. Losing that Cold Star commander early to Celestine when she just survived everything, that's a big blow to the Tau, because that was one of his easy ways of getting engage. Was being able to teleport around the board, move that 18 inches if he needed to. So sacrificing him to Celestine was that's a 5 or 10 point swing right there, just from losing that.
Yeah, very interesting. And then you can see all those characters hidden in that rune. Thanks, Tom, for the shot. There we go.
Now, no prisoners at the end of the game. Tau probably going to score 10 or 11 points on that. Depending on how many more units Chris decides to feed to the blender. Gotcha. So Crisis Suits are now trying to split as much fire as possible to wean down as much as he can to keep getting those no prisoner points.
And just keep clearing the board, right, as much as possible.
Yeah, so that at the end he can kind of get a 3 or a 4 where he needs to and maybe turn this around, because. He has the firepower. He just those secondary choices have killed him so far.
They have, and he's just never been able to get across the board, which I think is quite interesting, especially in a game that's so I quite like the nature, Pete, of 40k that I've been seeing over the course of the day, where it's those very classic battle lines drawn, and then trading on those objectives across that central, trading across those central points and objectives. But then that makes me really interested, because engage seems really difficult to achieve in that particular situation. Yeah. Some of those secondaries became really difficult because of the nature of how the game seems to play out effectively.
Exactly, and sometimes when it comes to these secondary choices, people go on autopilot, right? They're like, I pick engage every game, and then they look at a board and like, well, I'm picking engage again. And then once the game gets started, it's, oh, well, that wasn't the good idea, not even in the slightest. Maybe I should rethink when I'm playing against Sisters or something that I don't do this.
You surely have to be very mentally involved in those repeated choices. It feels, Pete, I don't know how you feel about this, like it's a challenge for casual players at a particular point.
For sure. I mean, we're seeing a number of Repentia being picked up. I think 7 have just been picked up in the back, in the bottom corner, and that probably was the whole squad. I believe his squads were 7 or 8 each. So that's really good for Tau. It's another charge unit that close combat unit he doesn't have to deal with in turn 5 when he tries to kind of flood the board and finish on top. Yeah, look, we're running solo on models for the Sisters player, but he's given himself such a comfortable lead.
Yeah, he has. He's pushed up really heavily, and I think maybe that's the story of the day. Like both Sisters players being very, very aggro, very, very aggro, and pushing across the board. Really shut down.
With minimal units, but the ones that made the difference.
Yeah, and Celestine become incredibly clutch in both games.
Oh, yeah.
Like, incredibly clutch. And actually, maybe that's the story. I don't know if anyone watching at home is a Sisters player, but maybe that becomes one of those kind of, like, key points for Sisters armies. Like, this piece really needs to do the work for me, and if it doesn't get me out of the scrapes that I need it to do. Because Sisters are doing okay in the meta, right?
Yeah, they're doing amazing. They're one of the top armies.
Interesting.
So we're going to see if the Canoness finally drops. She's survived a lot as well.
Yeah, she's right in the center of the board there. So she's survived so much damage. It's been absolutely crazy.
Yeah, it's like she shuffled over here and, now taking a bunch of plasma shots to the face. She's probably only going to be down to I think she's now down to 1 wound once that gets flipped.
So she's on the right-hand side behind this bit of ruin, so you can't see her. Oh, using Miracle Days to save the last one, so she's still alive.
On 1 wound. Oh, she must be...
Yeah, she's there. She's behind that bit. She's
gotcha.
behind that ruin, so you can't see her because she's here, isn't she?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Got it.
Because PTZ's that way. Yeah, she's still alive. Wow.
There's still more...
She's been in there for like 3 turns.
Oh, look at all the dice. Must be the burst cannons. Oh, yeah, and they're on Kaoyun, so all of those 6s are extra shots. Good roll. After we see what happens here, we should cut to that other table because it's such a tight game. I think they might even be counting up points.
Okay, well, we'll flip. Oh, wow, so they're scoring it up right now. So just looking at the board state for table 1, Celestine, as you can see, still alive. That clutch, staying alive on 1 wound, being incredibly important on the turn previous. We've seen the troops move into the middle in the center there.
Yeah, we've seen like a string out here to try and grab whatever he can for, I'm assuming, for deadly performance points and a final banners. We're going to see if he's able to pull it out.
Let's listen to the players.
27 plus 45. So I already have it by 1?
Yeah.
Yeah, but if I don't score anything else.
Okay. That's cool. So now you have to be careful.
Yes.
Because you know what could happen.
So I basically, if I don't hurt you at all,
yeah,
you can't use miracle dice.
Exactly.
Can't score anything. Okay. That Shadow Seer will advance. 4.
Crazy game. I really love that game.
So he can get in your deployment zone. So that's another 2 points that I wasn't counting.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
I think you're good.
Yeah, that's all I have to do.
Yeah.
Good game, my friend.
Was a
Good
pleasure.
game.
Really, really, really cool. So you can add yourself 2 more?
Yeah. So that's 45 plus 29. What's 45 plus 29?
What?
We muted ourselves. We had the most guys. You have no idea. I said the smartest things you ever heard in your lives, and it's none of it exists anymore. All you need to know is that Tim played one of the better games of 40K I think I've seen. I called it out that it was going to be very close. I thought Tim would pull it off. Still curious as to what happened with those Paragon Warsuits because they didn't come out to play till super late. But yeah, we got an interview here with Tim and with Eve. Let's cut to Val and maybe they can tell a better story.
Right,
than I would ever tell.
over to Val, Tim, and Wyvez. Here we go.
Shields up, shades on. Val have a finger in the field here with table 1, top table behavior. We got Tim and Eve. Yes, that's correct. I learned one thing this round. Your name. Okay, so a couple things. One, Tim, it's probably good that you didn't hear the very nice things that Peter just said. Second thing he asked was that something about the Paragon Warsuits. What happened with the Paragon Warsuits?
Oh, yeah. So the thing that, I was scared because I know that the bike can just like shred them down really quickly. So my goal was just to keep them backward as long as I can, because if at some point it just show up, I can just like come outside of the protection and just like peel him with Melta and stuff. But unfortunately for me, I think he saw that coming, so he just put the bike way far away from my Paragon Warsuit. And I think turn 3 or maybe even before, I should start to go a bit more aggressive instead of playing like, okay, I will try to deal with what is in my base instead of trying to push forward.
So those big old stompy ladies were like, yeah, let me have them. I couldn't get there.
They're still quite good. You know, like I think is what it shows there is that there is still this discussion between Retributor versus Warsuit, and I still think Warsuit have a shot. You know, like I'm not saying Retributors are bad; they are really good, but Warsuit, you can discuss. So, yeah, I really love them.
Amazing stuff. Well, Timmy, now you just edged out the victory there. It was tight in the end. Took the. I think I heard also a comment about the play was that you were maybe still in deny points mode. Yep. Maybe left a little European hangover because you are just arrived. Comment maybe on your general approach to the game here.
So I knew banners over Rod because he took Rod. I took banners. If I screen him out, he can only get 4, and I can get at least 9 on banners, like at least. So that's already 5. I knew we were both probably going to max primary, and I thought he would have 12 on leap, 15 on shrine. If I got 12 on behind enemy lines and deadly performance, that means I win. So that's all I was going for, really. But a couple of misplays allowed me to give him a 4, which meant he didn't max primary. And then basically on turn 5, it just meant I didn't have to push to get my deadly performance, which I could have done, but it's risky, right? Yeah.
Well, that's pretty good breakdown. Any retort?
No. I mean, we discussed quickly after the game, and I think he's right. Like, the only thing I would argue about is maybe the fact that the reason why I took Rod is also to force him to stay in his base instead of just vomiting his stuff at my face. So, but he did a really, really good job at screening me out, and he forced me to have a lot of resources that was really useless. But yeah, at the end of the day, if we had to replay the game, I would try banner for sure. But I don't think I would change too much of the thing I done. It was going back and forth. I thought at some point I could make it. And yeah, he played really, really well. So I love this kind of game when you learn a lesson and you come after and say, okay, I get stronger. And next time I will be there.
I think that's great. I'm standing here, you might think, for framing purposes, but it's actually because if I wasn't, they would be beating the hell out of each other. These gentlemen are aggressive, angry, Warhammer machines. Also, Tim, the shades just add an edge to you that it's a bit intimidating down here. It's good. It's good. I really like it. I don't know if anyone's still in the booth, but I think we're gonna kick back to the stream here. Rob took his headset off. So there's the headset. It's back on. Thumbs are up. Rob.
Welcome back to the booth. We are on table 2, and we are looking at Tau versus Adeptus Sororitas, the Sisters of Battle, the Battle Sisters. And no, Matthew, you are correct. He is a silly man, but he's a funny man. He's a funny man. He's a silly man. He's a great man. And I appreciate you talking on 3 different platforms at the same time, Nurgle Matthew. That is fantastic for you. Right, okay, so in these final, hello Bobbin, my love to you. I hope you're well. Thanks everyone for tuning in live. If anyone does want to send us any DoorDash food or money, please do let me know. We're all very happy to receive food. These final moments of this Tau versus Harlequins match. And I know what you're thinking. 3 rounds are over, Rob. That's the end of the stream today. No, there's a 4th round coming up later today. So do not worry. Pete, what has been happening in this match?
Well, I went over and just chatted with the guys for a little bit here to get an idea of how they felt. We're about to get an updated score. We're top of 5. I believe the score right now is a 75 to either 57 or 59. I was having a hard time kind of reading. In favor of the sisters, both guys agreed. The secondaries have been the key here for the sisters player. He only has, I believe, 4 models left on the board going into this round 5.
Oh boy.
He's got a Repentia, 1 single Repentia hanging out fighting Shadow Sun at the bottom of the board, or up here actually, sorry, the top for us. There's a Repentia, and I believe a Repentia Superior hanging out up there, kind of trying to deal with Shadow Sun. And then there's 2 models down here on this objective. And I believe that's all that's left for the sisters.
Crazy.
86. Big 86. He must not have updated his turn 5 primary. So.
That seems over the top. That's
30. I think he has. Yeah. So he must have maxed his primary now.
But we're thinking he's going to get 10 for prisoners. That takes it 64, 84.
He has too many primary points because he can only get 45. So that'll have to be changed at some point, right? Because he's got 43, 51 right now. So we'll have to subtract 6 from this score. So he's 80 to 54 right now.
Yeah, no problem. Tom's gonna ensure.
Yeah.
That occurs.
Currently 80 to 54, but Tau do have bottom of turn. They basically have the entire board to themselves once Sisters is done. Right now, I know that Chris's plan is to try and get at least another 3 points on his Acts of Faith. He might only be able to get 2. It's whether he wants to risk popping them on the Tau player's turn to get that extra bonus point. His Defend the Shrine's done. He's not going to get any more on that. So really, we're effectively at almost a talk-out stage of the game.
Oh, really?
Where not in the negative sense that we often hear, but there's just so little left to do that they're kind of just talking to each other of, this is what I can do to score points to see what's going to happen. So I fully suspect we'll see like an end game and a handshake here anytime in the next few minutes.
Okay, that's pretty interesting because both these 2 games, 2.5 hours seem like pretty tight for these game
Very
rounds.
tight.
But actually, I think we're going into it. Let's just get this right. I think we're gonna end up being like 20 minutes under schedule.
Oh, we just had the handshake.
There we go. There's the handshake. Or maybe we can tune in, but maybe our table boss is going to let us know in 1 minute.
Our table boss is saying it's a 1-point game. We're waiting to see.
A 1-point game. Maybe we could. Yeah.
I don't know who won the 1-point game. Waiting to get an update.
Absolutely love how cute that
Tau
man
win
is.
by 1 point.
Tau win by 1 point.
83 to 82. It'll be the final score, guys. What a matchup! Like we knew this was close. Because of those sister secondaries, it looked like Tau's game to lose the entire time. But those secondary choices really bit him in the butt until the very end. Taking Engage on all fronts, taking banners.
Incredible. Like there was I feel like there was some key moments in that match, but it feel like I think we know what the answer is. It was just Celestine again surviving. That seems to be the story of the day, right?
Oh, sorry, Tom. The entire Sisters army is gone. Tau still had quite a bit. He's already pulled models. We have shenanigans going on here.
Yeah. We do have shenanigans going on. Okay. The Wow. Oh, wow. That was some spicy meatballs there. A lot happening.
Yeah, so what we can't see, there were 5 Crude Hounds on this back objective, so we didn't need to keep anything there. They're pulling models right now, left, right, and center. But the big thing was Tau had the entirety of the board. When turn 5 happened, Sisters had, like I said, 4 models left. It was just math that they would die from just even the SMS that were out there. Yeah, Kallion definitely underrated. And there was a point, too, where the Tau player was like, I completely forgot I've been in Kaohsiung. So
he did. I tell you what was doing a friendly reminder. Like, oh, a lot of sixes for a Kion. Yes.
So still, like, a great game by the Sisters player. He played his ass off to keep it like that after like, on a board like this. And yeah, Tau coming in at the end with that 1-point win, 83-82.
Well, that's an exciting round 3, but I know what you're thinking. That's the end of a normal day, but not in Canada.
Not here.
Where they're made of sterner stuff.
Nope, not true.
Okay.
This guy isn't. I just had to take a bunch of Pepto-Bismol. I don't know what the rest of you are thinking. Those donuts were, like I said before, they were more liquid than solid, but tasted so
Shout out
good.
to Tito Ortiz in the chat for donating them. It was very lovely of him. It was
Tito Ortiz?
Yeah, was
Seth Oster?
Seth Oster,
I
the same
like calling
person.
him Tito Ortiz.
That was, you know what I meant by saying,
did,
weirdly.
100%.
Yeah, okay, so thanks to Seth. Okay, so lovely match. Let us know who you might want us to watch next round. But of course, we will be back. You'll see the schedule in a moment. Thanks to Falcon. Thank you to the rest of the stream crew who've been amazing all day. They've been amazing. Shout out to Rich, Tom, and Val Heffelfinger. Thanks to everyone and the organisers. So we'll see you again in about 40 minutes. Goodbye, 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 goodbye.